Okay guys, I wanted to make this one a little bit quicker. All we're going to do is gonna get React Router to work. So I already did set this up, but I'm going to show you how we did it. Basically at this point we want to be able to switch. Notice how in the URL this is changing. Nothing shows up for contacts or links. There's a reason for that. But once we get to projects, we can still get through everything. And if we want, we can go back to this about, just like this should work, right? How a regular page should work. The difference is, yes, this URL is changing, but we're not re-rendering anything here. Notice how fast that is. Notice how it's not refreshing. Whereas if we went to, let's go to some weird WordPress site, just because I know WordPress does this. Notice how if we come here, it's literally coming up here and has to reload every single time. That's why we're getting this X instead of the refresh. Something like that whenever we click on a link. It works, but it's a huge request onto the site. Whereas notice here, it's literally just changing without actually needing to reload everything, right? That's one of our advantages of using React itself. So how to do this? So I had to look up a few things. First off, so I found this video, reacttraining.com/reactrouter. Let's just go back, see where this takes us exactly. No, it took us right to the video. Nothing else on here. I haven't explored too much on the site, but they have it. /React Router. Takes us right here. We can watch the video, right? So it was a decent video. This is when React Router was actually in its testing stages still, but more or less it got us where we needed to be. And then, so let's look at where the code happened. So if we remember our code, our app actually has start there, right? Our app has the nav bar and the main inside of it. So we wanted to separate out this as a different component versus our main page, right? And this main is our container for everything else. So let's get rid of that as well. Did some experimenting. I might have gone too far, guys. We were about here last time. So as we look at this, basically what we need to do is we need to create what's called links. And so let's look at the nav bar first. There's these links. Instead of the anchor tag, the A, that we had before that said A and then href equals this. We can do this, but what would happen instead is it refreshes our page every time, right? And we don't really need that. So instead we use this link. Now notice we have to first import it from our React Router DOM. Now I'm doing this inside of our navigation bar. So we import. Yes, I wrapped, this was still all wrapped inside this div because that's going to go on top, right? And we have to return only one element basically. So from there we have a link to, so we do this to equals and then a bracket, and then as a string notation the link we want to go to, or the URL change, right? From here we wanted this to change, if you remember. So to get this part to change, we needed a router somewhere, right? And then a route path, and then a path to the other route. Let's just go ahead and save this right here. It should run, because as we remember before, I imported these. That should work here. Router, and then the nav bar has our links, right? So let's see what happens. You should not use link outside a router. Okay, well, let's go ahead and put this router, close that router, and then we also need to import, same as we did here, browser router is router, comma link. That way it doesn't yell at us, right? So let's see where we're at. A router may only have one child element. Well, that's a problem for us, isn't it? Now, we could look here and see what we get, but basically we're probably not going to get anything readable, right? Tutorials, resume site, Webpack, Bootstrap, Bundle.js. It's like we're not working in any of these files, Bundle.js, etc. So this really doesn't help us other than this right here. A router may only have one child element. Well, as you see, this router has only one child element, right? It's this div right here. Yeah, there's more child elements inside of that div, but router itself only has one child element. So let's go ahead and look at main. Here's the issue I believe we ran into last time, is we needed to wrap this also inside of a div for that exact same reason. So when you're doing more than one route, you need to do something like this. Now we're going to run into another error. Notice it loads, right? But as I change, we're not actually getting anywhere. It's not refreshing, you could say. So what I did is I went React router URL not re-rendering component. So I found this one, React router version 4 issue, URL is updating but components not re-rendering. It's exactly what we have, right? URL is updating, components not re-rendering. And this is actually interesting. I love that I found this one because this sets up exactly how we wanted ours. Notice inside of this app he has a header and a main. Inside of header is his navigation, that's all he's doing. And then inside main he has how we have everything set up right now, right? And then there's his index.js, which we're not really worried about. Here's the answer. Your link components need to be children of the same router. Notice we have a router here and a router here. Well, how do we fix that? Well, one, get rid of router there. I'm just undoing in this case. Nope, I want to redo. I went a little too far, guys. Sorry. Link. We have that all inside the div. And then this router we need to get rid of as well. Yep, we went a little too far. Just wanted to check what was going on. Okay, so we had it this way. Basically, we're going to get rid of this router. And I might get an error while we do this, but let's see. Now what we need to do, that means, is we need to go into the part that's containing both of them, right? Here we need to import our browser router as router. Now we don't necessarily need to import the route because that goes here. So we could get rid of this here. Literally just import route. Let's keep our components all we need to import, right? Navbar only has a link. Now main, or app.js doesn't need route or link. All it needs is router. From here, router, close the router. Now remember, one child element, and both of these are wrapped inside of a div already. So let's go ahead and save that. Come back over to our page. Adjacent elements must be wrapped in a closing tag, which means we did need to put this in its own div. That's fine, right? Back over here. Look at that. So we got our about page. Our projects are still not loading. Let's figure out why. We're missing something, right? Well, what we're missing, let's go back to this. Projects. Notice it's actually showing up here. And they showed this in this video. If we played it, where? We had it's in this video, guys. I'm not too worried about it. We can close that out because I know exactly what it is. What happens is both of these URLs match, right? Because we have this slash. It's going to match everything, whether we go contacts, projects, whatever. Now notice the projects aren't down here under the links or under contact or about. It's only here when it's projects. The reason why is this about, which is matching our original, like right here, just that. It matches, and then it's not an exact match. It's basically loosely anything that matches plus. So what we need to say is exact equals curly brackets true. Close that. Let's go ahead and save. And look at that. We're on projects. Only projects show up, right? We're on about, and that did not show up. Why? Well, my path here is slash, and this path is about. I want this to be our root, our root page. So now we won't have a slash about. It's just gonna have like this invisible slash right here, right? And that'll show our about now. So that, in a nutshell, is what we wanted. So again, to review, we needed to go to our encompassing from both the navigation and our main component that's displaying everything. We needed to wrap that into one router in order to link it from different locations, right? And remember, as we use router, it can only be in one element. So that's why we have this div. We couldn't get rid of this div. We'd have to have something there. From here, let's go to navbar because it's first. We need to import the link, and then we link to the URL, just like the href, basically, just like an anchor tag. And that's all we do here. And then we come, so again, back to main. And in here, we need the return to have one element as well, remember. And then this has our routes inside of it. We're importing route only in this case. That way we don't have anything extra that we really don't need. So there's that. And of course this browser router as router. If we didn't say as router, we'd have to type browser router here instead. You can do that, but convention has it where we just say router instead. So pretty short video, guys. Nothing too complicated in this case. Next time we will go over our making everything look good. So I'm not too worried about adding the links and the contacts. We will do that in a bit, but that's just another component, just like our projects, just a little bit different, or like our about. We already have the basic setup and the knowledge we need. I would suggest trying that on your own if you really wanted. You should have everything you need to do that. From there, we're going to make everything look good. So we're going to actually make this, use Bootstrap with it, Bootstrap here. And then after we use Bootstrap, we'll do another project to get MongoDB and a little bit more Redux experience as well. So I will talk to you guys next time.